Today, I want to talk about Valve's founding and early days. Did you know that the initial version of Half-Life was a disaster? Let's get into it. Two people behind Valve are Gabe Newell and Mike Harrington. Gabe's pre-Valve career was basically Microsoft, where he spent an astonishing 13 years. There is so many interesting facts about Gabe, I can dedicate the whole video to it, but let me share the most fascinating ones. Gabe joined Microsoft in 1983 as one of the earliest employees. And it was Steve Ballmer who convinced Gabe, a 20-year-old Harvard student, to drop off Harvard and join Microsoft. In Microsoft, Gabe worked on all major Windows releases, from 1.0 to the legendary Windows 95.
Mike, this isn't working. That's what I get for working at Microsoft.
And Gabe was obsessed with gaming in general, playing games, modding them, especially everything ID software related, Doom and Quake. Another Valve co-founder was Mike Harrington. He also was an early engineer in Microsoft who worked alongside Gabe. In 1996, Gabe had a fairly boring job at Microsoft. Over the years, the company has evolved and become more slow and bureaucratic. He was financially independent thanks to the Microsoft stock, and he had a passion to build games. At some point, he visited the ID Software office and saw the Quake engine there, and he was blown away by it. So, Gabe and Mike decided to take a leap of faith. They resigned from Microsoft and kick off their own game studio in Kirkland, Washington, to rival ID Software. The studio name is Valve. With the studio now incorporated, as you can guess, Gabe and Mike start working on their first game. Gabe's vision was the following. Quake was amazing gameplay-wise, but it was just a shooter without any deep lore or story. So Gabe wanted to create a Quake-like shooter, but with a more sophisticated storyline. That game became Halflife. As the first step, they licensed the ID Software's Quake engine and heavily modified it. The new engine name is Gold Source. Second, they struggled to find a publisher, but managed to convince Sierra, who loved the idea of a story-driven FPS. In 1997, Valve came up with the first version of Half-Life. It had a deep story inspired by X-Files and Stephen King's The Mist. They showed the game at E3 in 1997, and it was a disaster. People called it just another Quake clone. It felt boring, unpolished, and AI did not really work well. And by AI, I mean enemy behavior in the game, not the modern-day AI. So they shut down the studio and go back to Microsoft. Just kidding. Basically, Gabe and the team start working on a refined version of Half-Life. Valve scraped 70% of the game and started over. By the end of '98, they had a redesigned version of Half-Life. The storyline had been streamlined with the focus on Black Mesa. They made a heavy focus on so-called scripted sequences. Instead of cutscenes, you just have some events constantly happening around you as you progress through the game. They also improved AI a lot. So now enemy marines were super smart with flanking, with throwing grenades, with coordinated attacks, and so on. Half-Life was finally launched in November '98, and the reception was unbelievable. It was universally acclaimed as the best game ever made. It got over 50 Game of the Year awards. It was revolutionary in being a story-driven FPS with a strong immersion. And the technical decisions such as scripted sequences and AI behavior were just mind-blowing by the time standards. Commercially, it exploded, selling over 1 million copies by mid-99. Valve instantly went from a no-name startup to one of the most respected studios in gaming. One extra secret weapon behind Half-Life was its modding support. It allowed regular players to build their own mods or even full games based on the source engine. The whole new game genres were created. The most prominent example is Counter-Strike. Originally created as a Half-Life mode, then rapidly grew in popularity and is still the most played game to this day. Half-Life laid the foundation for everything Valve would become in future. In 2003 they launched Steam, originally just a tool for game updates, which soon evolved into the biggest PC game marketplace in the world. And Steam transformed Valve from just a game studio to a biggest PC game distribution company. In 2004, Valve launched Half-Life 2, which was even more amazing and made the whole series legendary. I would say over the last several years, Valve is kind of playing safe and don't really innovate a lot. But they still remain one of the most influential gaming companies of all time and growing their presence year by year. And who knows, maybe we will see some promising announcement from Valve in future. Thanks for watching, click like and subscribe as more stories are coming soon. See ya!